Ladies and gentlemen, so the Age of Sentry monthly event quest, it got delayed. Like, there was an announcement a little bit before, but the latest, if it hasn't already released by the time I put out this video, the latest update from Kabam is that it's going to be any time in the next 1 to 8 hours, maybe even a little bit longer than that, which is pretty much, you know, they might as well not have given a time frame, to be honest. Oh, just absolute clown fiesta. But anyway, one of the things that we're going to be tucking into, because, you know, we can't do all the exciting new monthly event stuff, is having a look at the champion spotlight for Sentry, seeing some of the finalized abilities, and giving my thoughts just at face value of the text and abilities of the character, and talking about, you know, what kind of Sentries turned out to be. And there are two things initially that I think have turned a lot of people off about Sentry, and myself included, that are two really big concerns. And the first one, he has that kind of Thor Ragnarok-esque synergy, where he gains a phenomenal amount of attack being paired with Void. It's like plus 50% attack. So yeah, just so vital by the look of it, if you want to play this champion optimally, that you're going to also have Void. And in terms of how his, like, states work, it looks like he's going to be a bit of a massive RNG Fiesta champion, but I still think Sentry, in the right circumstance, has a lot of potential to deal some really nice damage, and, you know, might have some alright utility in terms of his indestructibility and the way that synergizes with Reality Warp. So yeah, just to break down some of the abilities of this character, first off, one of the things is attack. Base attack seems like it's going to be high enough on a 5-star rank 4 character to extend the Labyrinth and Rage timer, which is some really good stuff to see, unlike Thor Ragnarok, who, you know, just didn't even have that from the base. And then we have passive Reality Warp. So these are charges that he gets at the start of the fight, and after every 40 hits in a combo, Sentry gains Reality Warp. Reality Warp stacks up to a maximum of 5 times. So, if you have this character unawakened, it's going to take you 160 hits, I would assume, before you get 5 stacks, and that's when you really start hitting hard. But again, if you mess up, then these stacks are going to be consumed to the indestructible ability, and that's really going to gimp your damage. So I think he has a very, like, Star-Lord-esque vibe about him when it comes to Sentry's kind of playstyle. So he's going to start the fight in the unyielding fortitude state, and during this state, he essentially can't lose his combo, but for every 10 hits you get, it kind of advances you on to the next state. Well, I say advances, actually has a 30% chance to advance you on to the next state, but if you go into the next state every 10 hits, it looks like you can have a really nice damage bonus. So, the first state after 10 hits is potentially Overpowering Light, which will give his Sentry's special attack 1, 842.8 increased damage per stack of Reality Warp, which I believe is akin to, I think it's about 75% of his base attack, you know, in terms of how it's going to scale up with the character, which, you know, when you have 5 stacks of that, is pretty huge in terms of the additional damage output it could provide, especially when it crits. So this gives me quite high hopes. And then, so the special Overpowering Light, that's all about special 1. Steadfast Approach is all about the heavy attack and bonus damage on there, which, if it has multiple hits, could be very good. And then also we have Absolute Strength, which is the special attack 2. So it kind of alternates between, you've got a chance to Mega Charge your Special Attack 1, Mega Charge your Heavy, or Mega Charge your Special Attack 2. But again, it's only a 30% chance on shifting in every single phase, and I don't believe via the Synergies or his Special 3 there's any way to increase this 30% chance. So Kabam Mike, in some of the comments, describes this as a very roulette wheel champion, which, in certain circumstances, you know, might have its advantages, but I feel like with a 30% chance, it's just going to be a little bit annoying, and there are going to be those circumstances, much like anything with a chance to proc, like Ghost Rider, for example, can be sometimes a little bit annoying and a little bit frustrating to play when you get the badder side of the RNG as kind of an overall character. So that's one of the things initially. that really quite turns me off when I look at this Sentry champion spotlight, combined with the fact that, you know, it looks like, and we'll talk about in a second about the Void synergy, that you're going to need to have Void if you want to play this character, and I think in the first 2 weeks of this character, we're not really going to see anywhere close to his full potential, because, you know, people won't have Void for 2 weeks into the month. But then in terms of his special attacks and the stuff they do, so Special 1 punches the opponent before unleashing a light blast, and this has a 70% chance for Fury. Again, chance-based stuff, a lot of RNG when it comes to this character, but it increases your attack by a base of 25% for 20 seconds. So it's not a very strong Fury at all, but it does last for 20 seconds. So it's got a little bit going on there, and it's confirmed in the comments by Kabam Mike that they do not stack and will refresh, so you can only have one stack of Fury there. Special attack 2 is a uppercut and then loops around for a flying double punch and has a 70% chance to armor break, removing an enemy armor up and applying a fairly weak reduction. It's kind of a moderate reduction for 20 seconds. So I assume, you know, a lot of the rotation is kind of like getting lucky when entering these various stances, and then, you know, alternating between the Special 1 and Special 2 to have 100% uptime on the Fury and Armor Break. And also, when this character is paired with Void, you need to have 100% uptime on the Special 3 as well. And just by itself, the Special 3 doesn't do anything extra apart from... when below 50% health, Sentry consumes 1 Reality Warp to heal for 10% of his max health over 3 seconds, which in comparison to a character like Blade is very, very, very underwhelming regeneration at the cost of something that I assume is going to, you know, be quite a lot of damage. Reality Warp, it seems like it's going to stack quite nicely, providing you get lucky when moving into various phases there. The signature ability is a bit of an interesting one, so it allows your Reality Warp to persist from fight to fight. And also, Sentry has a chance to gain Indestructible when he loses a combo. So when Sentry loses a combo, he has a 100% chance to become Indestructible for 0.3 seconds per Reality Warp. Indestructible buff doesn't trigger if Sentry is afflicted with a debuff, so that's interesting to bear in mind, maybe if you mess up against something like Dormammu. And at the start of the fight, if health is above a certain percent, Reality Warp persists from Sentry from the previous fight. So yeah, Reality Warp will only persist if your Sentry is healed up by a certain amount. And what else was I going to bring to the table? So yeah, Kabam Mike also clarifies that Sentry does not have the ability with his Indestructible via his Awakened ability to eat a Special 3 attack, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And what is the final, Kabam might comment, he's talking about the key to Sentry is momentum. He's great for longer fights, and with his signature ability, he's great in longer quests. The thing to imagine when you're going through these cycles is that you're in a roulette with only 4 options, and each time you go through that cycle, you have a chance of one of those options being supercharged. It may only be a 30% chance per cycle, but 30% can mean a world of difference. He can burst out a ton of damage and then be knocked out of a combo, take no damage, and then regain the ability in another 10-hit combo, but his damage is going to be really, really gimped. If you got 160 hits, you take 1, then that's all of your Reality Warp charges done, and you are back down to some, I would assume, pretty underwhelming damage. But I still think, like, he has very, very strong potential in the hands of a very good player to be the best science champion, which, to be honest, isn't a huge competition at the moment for that title. So yeah, I have strong hopes that he's going to be the best science champion. But in regards to the synergies of this character, again, as we talked about, it seems very, very reliant on the synergy of Void. So after the special attack 3, Sentry inflicts Fear of the Void. So Fear of the Void is 3 different debuffs, so it's Agility, Fatigue, and Petrify, and we saw from the early Data Mind abilities, oh no, I had it at the right point there, we're just going to quickly scroll down. So Agility reduces ability accuracy of Evade and Dexterity Mastery by a certain percent, Petrify reduces the effectiveness of power gain and regeneration on the opponent, and Fatigue reduces crit rating, so a bit of an ability accuracy reduction and a bit of a power gain and regeneration reduction, so might be quite good depending on how potent it is, and in certain matchups, like, might be quite good for fighting a magic, for example. So I'm interested to, you know, see how he gets on and exactly how potent that is, as well as increasing Sentry's attack rating by 50% for 40 seconds. So again, Just seems very, very reliant on using not only Void, but the special free and randomness. So there are three things at the moment that are really turning me off of this character in terms of my excitement, and I feel like a lot of people have had a fairly meh reaction. But I don't know, I reckon in Labyrinth fights and really, really long quests, if you can play very, very well, then this dude is going to be the absolute man. I reckon these are going to have some really, really big damage multipliers if you can get lucky. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a champion you want to bring to something like Alliance Quest, Alliance War, where you want that level of reliability. But again, it's very, very early to tell exactly. And strong matchups and weak matchups that they've said. What do we have? Recommended Masteries, actually. So let's see what they've suggested. Most of Sentry's abilities are based around his special attacks and how they impact his damage. Recoil is a good option to further increase his damage. His situational regeneration on special free will help mitigate damage taken from recoil. That's a pretty rubbish line. I'm just gonna say it, like, recoil is a terrible mastery. No. Extended enhanced fury. When using Sentry's special 1 attack, you want to maintain the long-lasting fury buff gained from his special 1 attack. By keeping fury active and enhanced, Sentry will have a consistent boost to damage. Doesn't the mastery only increase it by 0.8 seconds on a very, very weak fury? Yep, it is 0.8 seconds. Just have a look in the game. That mastery isn't going to do much at all, man. But glass cannon, I mean, every character is good for glass cannon, but these are bad recommendations, man. Very bad recommendations. Strong matchups when entering into a long fight against Dormammu. Sentry is provided time to build up his damage. He's able to gain Reality Warp, Supply Fury, Inflict Armor Break, and cycle through his different states to inflict a chunk of damage. Well, I don't really see any significant pro against Dormammu, apart from his science. He has the class advantage, but maybe if you get lucky, you might be able to kill Dormammu before he degenerations you to death. So I don't think that's a great matchup. Sentry is able to deal last spurts of damage when abilities align. This can be used to play around Magic's Limbo. I prefer completely negating Magic's Limbo, and also Sentry's special free regeneration helps mitigate damage taken from Limbo. But assuming it's marked as a regeneration, it's just going to expire after 3 seconds and give your opponent a big stack of Mystic Dispersion and power, so I don't see how that's too great. And then MODOK, Sentry's different states provide him with powerful and blockable attacks which help overcome MODOK and his auto-block ability. Sentry's different states may have a 30% chance to land you the unblockable attack you need, but overall MODOK's ability, you know, shield recharge is way too quick to overcome that. So yeah, I don't know, but to be honest, like that, the point about Dormammu actually might make him a really, really good boss killer in Alliance Quest. So I don't know, I'm interested to see, but again, you're gonna have to probably bring Void if you want a lot of the meat out of this champion. And then we have Green Goblin. In terms of weak matchups, Sentry relies on special attacks and his signature ability defense is disabled by debuffs, and its focus is all about having high attack. Green Goblin can counter all of Sentry's abilities through special and heavy attacks, which apply power drain, poison, incinerate, and weakness. I don't really get how he'd be bad for Green Goblin. I guess if it was just like base damage, maybe. I think that's the point that they're trying to make there. Hella physical resistance, again, doesn't really matter. That's so minimal. And then Taskmaster can reduce opponent's ability accuracy, which affects the overall damage output of Sentry. Yeah, I guess if you get hit, that's the main one, I would assume. His Fury, Armor Break, and Signature Indestructible are all affected by it. It's mainly the class disadvantage there. But yeah, this that section's been better before, definitely better. But I'm interested to see, you know, how Sentry turns out to be a playable character. I don't have crazy hopes for this character. I think in the very best case scenario, like, he's going to be a really, really good option for like Labyrinth fights and Realm of Legends and stuff. But I think for the average player, because it seems to be so punishing if you lose your combo, I guess it's kind of like looking at Star-Lord, but you gain indestructible and are capped at like 160. So I'm not too sure. I don't know how I feel about Sentry yet. I think he's a character that needs a lot of testing done with him to figure out if he's going to be good or not. but simultaneously, I'm not really as hype as I thought I would be, looking at, you know, the chance stuff, and also the fact that the Void Synergy seems pretty significant to the awesomeness of this character. But I might be wrong. We'll see how he does. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed today's Sentry video. Again, if I didn't already flash this up, it was confirmed that Sentry is going to be a science character. So I'm really excited for the introduction. I want to get him tomorrow, hopefully do a little bit of testing. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.